Order and start with our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Madam Acting Mayor, we are looking to add 2 items under general business, under A and B. One would be to approve a live performance contract with the Tin Cups Steel Drum Band for Fire Rescue Days Parade. And the second one would be to approve portable picnic table rental agreement, also for the Wagner Park events for Fire Rescue Days.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I will second.
Okay, first by Berg, second by Theophalt. All in favor?
Aye.
No presentations, proclamations, or acknowledgements. Is anybody here for public comment on anything that is not currently on our agenda? Hi, Patrick. No? All right.
Can we ask online too?
What? Is there anybody online? Gene, do you have anything that you would like to add, young man?
No,
Okay, good to see you again, sir.
thank you.
All right, moving on to consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they would like to pull off of consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda. I will second.
Okay. We have a motion by Novak, second by Theophalt. Am I saying that right?
You are.
Oh, thank the
I'm
Lord.
very impressed.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. No public hearings, so now we're gonna go on to the general business.
We have some last-minute contracts to get approved for Fire Rescue Days for this weekend. So first, we're asking the council to approve a live performance contract with the Tin Cup Steel Drum Band.
We just did that under consent.
Did you add it to consent?
Yep, it's already added to consent.
Oh, I didn't. I added it to general business. I didn't realize.
It's items J and K.
Yep.
I don't have an updated agenda. That's why.
Oh, so now we're taking that off of general business.
How do we handle that? If
No, if you approved
the agenda.
the agenda, then it was approved with consent.
Yep, so we'll just note that the city administrator made an error. So,
Oopsie doopsie. All right, so we're done with general business. On to reports. Administration, do you have anything?
I just briefly, as reported at the last meeting, we did not have any candidates that moved on in the process for the accounting position, but we had 3 that we were moving forward for the deputy clerk position. One of those candidates took a job before the interview for another organization. We did do interviews, second round of interviews today. We are moving one of those candidates on to the background phase.
Nice. Are we putting it back out there for the finance job?
We will be. We wanted to wait a little bit before we put it out in the market to allow for some market churn and have new faces coming into potentially into the pool, given the weakness of the pool when we posted it last time. The other thing I did want to point out is the council is aware that Jake Sklizacek, one of our planners, has submitted his resignation. He's going to go work for the city of Prior Lake. Damn them for taking him, no. So we're happy for Jake that he's going to be moving on. But it does mean that we need to rethink how we're going to approach how we staff within the office and how we staff within the community development. In my meetings, one-on-one meetings with council over the next week and a half, I will be presenting my thoughts and recommendations related to that for actions as early as the July 10th meeting.
Perfect. All right. Public Works, Corey, good to see ya.
Nice to see you too. No, I'm just gonna come up for air after this weekend. Kind of busy. I have a little bit more time to get some stuff done, but I have nothing else.
Okay. Police Department. All good. Fire.
Nothing specific that fire had.
Okay. Engineering,
I have no report.
no jokes?
I can make something up if you like.
That's okay. Okay. Community development,
I do have some reports. I just want to, council probably knows from their one-on-ones with Tom, but we are continuing to work with Tamarack on their application to plat the Highlands at Eagle View property. They've submitted a second round of plans that address the majority of the city's comments. We are currently processing a wetland replacement plan application, and we're going to hold the plat approval by the council until that has been processed. But I would expect possibly later in July, maybe the July 24th meeting, that the plat would be here for approval. We have been contacted by the owners of the Old Town apartment building. They want to move as soon as possible into the construction of the next building.
wow.
They did call and say they couldn't get their application in for planning commission in July, so we'll be looking at probably a September start to construction if everything goes well. The existing building is full and has a waiting list, so it was the first time I had heard that, so that was good to hear. Rich and I are working on filing out issuing the final certificate of occupancy on the Niagara facility. Today, community development staff and engineering met with Joe Sullivan, who owns 80 acres immediately east of the Highlands at Eagle View, out near the elementary school. They want to move immediately into development of that property, and they've submitted a concept plan that will review, hold DRT meetings with the township and staff, but that property will require annexation, so there will be one extra step that hope goes smoothly. And then, as Tom mentioned, we're sad to see Jake leave. I know Tom will be bringing his thoughts for maybe more permanent solutions, but we have had a contract in place with WSB for backup or augmented planning services. We've had that in place since 2021. I have a recommendation on the next agenda just to update that with their updated fees. It's still in place, their old one is valid, but that will be on the next agenda if Tom permits. That's all I have. If you have any
That's a
questions.
lot. Excellent. All right, parks. Anything for parks that, other
know
than
that-
those?
Jake did hold that open house for the trail.
Yep. The general feedback I had on that, it was 60-40 in favor. A lot of the concerns were, I'm an adjacent property owner type of concerns. I don't have a lot of specifics from Jake at this time. But we're currently discussing whether does it go back to parks at this point, or does it move to council? While we're on that, given our current staffing situation, I'll just get to it. Part of it now is I'll be recommending that we move into reactive mode, and we're going to be heavily triaging items. And so I'm going to be recommending that we put the Parks Commission on hiatus if they don't have any deadline-related items. And the same will be true for the Planning Commission, that if it's just housekeeping stuff, and it doesn't have a timeline, it's just, we're going to put it on hiatus until we've increased our capacity. So the trail item might slide a little bit. Right now, we're not sure that it would be a 2025 project anyways. And so if that's the case, it's an item that can wait till we get a bit later in the year or over the winter.
Just a little bit on that too. So I was there. There was free ice cream. So went down and saw Jake. Brought my girls down. So it was good. But the concerns were related to some water runoff potential issues that some of the adjacent folks had mentioned. And then some of the similar concerns of, is it gonna be lighted for safety and stuff at night? And then Jake did a good job of explaining, you know, the park's closed at 10 anyway, and that kind of thing. But generally, I mean, everybody was super, like, civil and awesome and asking good questions, and so generally it was fine and uneventful, and
How was the ice cream?
ice cream was good. There were bomb pops and ice cream sandwiches and whatever, so.
Excellent, good, all right.
Chime in on that real quick. As someone with an existing trail in their backyard too, let me know if there is anything I can do to be of support with that. We have not had any problems or issues, and we don't have lighting or anything else back there, and it's been great, so.
Okay, excellent. All right, CCEC.
I'll defer to you for any fire rescue days, last minute updates. We haven't met.
We are ready to rock and roll on Saturday. Make sure that you get out and be ready to watch the parade at 11, and then head on over to, well, you got to do wrestling on Friday.
And steak
and
dinner.
steak
You
dinner
get
on
your
Friday. I mean,
wrestling.
everything's on Facebook, so make sure you look at it and just come out and support the community.
The one thing I have to point out is that most people don't realize it. They think there's this big mechanism out there that makes all this happen. The reality is it's 3 volunteers, maybe 4, that do the vast majority of the work associated with the event, and then some volunteers the day of. And so at some point, probably some good public recognition for that will be very important, I think.
Agree.
All right, scale. That was Friday,
I was on vacation, so
and I was unable to make it.
we had the general membership meeting, was the Friday before, and that was the legislative
one.
update.
Mhm.
Other council members were in there. Was there any meaningful takeaways?
I mean, I'm trying to think of, I was there Zoom, so was looking over Cosnick's shoulder and sending a random text every now and then. You know, there was the stuff between Draheim and Shakopee guy a bit, but otherwise,
There was a little partisan sparring,
yeah.
yeah. I don't think there's anything that was like,
Nothing,
yeah, there was nothing that was like new that you weren't generally aware of. They tended to want to play nice, and so they treaded lightly. There was a little minor amount of partisan sparring at it, and I don't know that there was any real keen insights as to what the next session would look like, so
Okay. Executive committee.
I was out of town for that.
I'm sorry, service delivery.
We did have service delivery, so as you know, one of the big discussions that we've been having is with regards to animal control services. We've kind of concluded our discussion on that. It sounds like the larger cities that are currently using 4PAWS are going to look at primarily internal means of dealing with their animal control. So Public Works and/or Police Department will be setting up kennels at their Public Works departments, and they'll be handling their animals that way. It was confirmed that there's not a lot of available options,
Here tonight, Corey.
so.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, so the fact that we have critter getters is an advantage. The chief and I have talked about it, and our current recommendation is going to be to renew with them when our contract ends this year. It is a significant cost overall, so to speak, but there isn't any other options out there. And so right now, the thought is we will ride that until that train runs out, and which is within the foreseeable future. And at that time, we'll have to reevaluate how we approach our animal control services and make some decisions on what level of services we provide.
Okay. I-35?
Wasn't a meeting
Not
since
that there
last
wasn't
one.
one. Okay, any discussion by council?
I just wanted to quickly just bring up, I don't know if folks saw it on Facebook, about, I'm gonna be careful with privacy stuff, but like an individual that has been seen in town walking around, that has maybe been flagging down folks for rides. Just know that there's, I think, ongoing conversations happening between the facility in which this person lives and the staff that, support them. And so if any community members have any questions, happy to reach out to me if they'd like, and I can educate them on what similar facilities can and can't do. And just know that I think steps are being taken, but just if people are wondering.
Have you talked to said facility?
Mhm.
If we see said person, are we supposed to give them a ride and bring them back to said facility, or are we supposed to reach out to you?
Well, she's her own guardian.
Person's not breaking any laws.
No,
They
Right.
can be,
Right.
as
Okay,
long as they're not trespass from
okay.
a specific property.
I didn't know if they were allowed to be outside of the home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's
and
not
then-
a- they're not, it's not a secured facility or anything. They-
Okay,
They rent there and.
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
She
Alright.
is super nice. I picked her up the other day and had a nice conversation and, yeah,
Nice.
so, but just FYI, if there's any concerns or questions, people are addressing it. Everything within the facility's control is being done, and this is one of those things where there's an intersection of state requirements and regulations that then prevent and stop facilities from doing certain things. This person's their own guardian. They, yes, are, qualify as a vulnerable adult because of where they live and the needs that they might have, but otherwise, as Chief said, not doing anything illegally or anything like that, so hopefully we can be a good community and support, this person as if they were living in a home within our community, so.
Right. Perfect. Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Hey, motion by Berg, second by Novak, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.